idea came from to start with?
Yeah, I was just thinking. Basically it came from a very quite practical place initially. Katie and I, and Sarah as well, did a short film called This Way Out, which was another kind of dark comedy set in a euthanasia centre. Again, lots of laughs. I think my husband is death obsessed, but it was a dark comedy, lots of laughs. And we kind of shot that in our flat, and these guys were involved, and that kind of got a lot of interest, and we, HBO bought it, and it kind of got BAFTA longlisted, and it was a nice, and Katie and I did a kind of double act in that. I call it a double act, like we're comedy people. And Stan, the director, wanted to take our characters and kind of find a different vehicle for it and make a feature. He was actually writing something else at the time, and then he found he was struggling with a kind of personal experience of self-help, and he was going through therapy himself at the time, and finding that really useful against all of the kind of quackery that exists around the kind of quick fix mental health people who are perhaps in it for the wrong reasons, and so he kind of he liked that concept, and so he brought me and Katie in, and actually the characters they were very different.
Actually, I was just thinking that because I watched a clip of This Way Out, and I thought, they're really different characters. But
I was just going to pick them up and put them in the thing, and then they just morphed into something very different.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a serial killer in that in the last one.
Well, I mean, you were euthanizing people.
Yeah, that's true. I was helping them, Katie. But yeah, so that's how it kind of began, and then he went away and wrote it. And actually, off the back of the short, he was getting quite a lot of meetings with some big companies who were kind of interested in making a feature. And he phoned me after one of the meetings and said, let's just do it ourselves like we did our short. How, and I went, yeah, how hard can it be? Because making a feature's just like a short, double.
A bit longer.
Yeah. And so we didn't know that we were going to spend the next 3 years of our life then focused on a feature. And so he went away and wrote it. I kind of script edited it, I just kind of crossed bits out, I think, that's what I did. And that's how it kind of spawned, really.
Yeah.
And then Katie came on. Katie was, going to be in it from the very beginning. And actually, Sarah too. You played a kind of like mad mother in the short too, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
tight costume. And so Katie came and did some rehearsals, and then kind of sat and rewrote the script around stuff that we did, and then so we had that kind of process, and then and it kind of launched quite quickly from there, really.
Brilliant. So Sarah and Katie, you both came back from the short. Did you guys get the same kind of team together, or was it? I imagine it's a much bigger team when you're doing the feature.
Yes, we did. Or we thought we could do it on a much, very lean crew, and some days we did, because there was only 5 of us that could fit in a car. So some days it was very, very lean crew, but we had that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to bring on the people, a lot of the crew that we used before. So we had the same DP, James Layton, who working on lots of huge Netflix things, and he wanted to get involved because of being involved in the short, and there was quite a few people that we brought over and then expanded quickly.
And representative 50-50 as much as possible, female.
Yeah, so we had half female crew. Well, our aim was half. I think we went slightly over.
Fantastic.
By accident. It wasn't. They were hard to do, really. Fine female, and we wanted to kind of put them in roles that they usually wouldn't play, you wouldn't normally associate with women. So there are fewer of them. So I know we had our boom operator and sound designer, and our
amazing focus
puller, and there was quite a few, and in post as well, our sound designer and production designer. We wanted to kind of have a balanced perspective on set, which was
brilliant.
Which was nice.
So I'm interested as well, the 7 steps, the kind of structure of the film is really interesting. Was that kind of set from the very beginning to be almost like, you hear about the 12-step programs and stuff like that. Was that the structure from the very beginning, or did that evolve throughout like the process of script editing and stuff?
I don't think it was right at the beginning, like from reading the first drafts and stuff. No, I don't think it was.
What do you think inspired that during production?
Well, I think it was, we did a lot of research, Staten and I did a lot of fun research looking into these therapies, and I mean, a lot of them, they all exist, those ones up there, they all exist, and some of them were too mad to put on people. We were just like, people won't believe us.
Yeah.
Did you literally try any out?
Is there a lot on the cutting room floor?
I did sound therapy. Actually, a friend of mine is sound therapy, and some of the therapists are based on some people I know, shall we nameless, that are kind of life coaches. I think there's quite a few actors who've become life coaches.
Yeah.
Don't know why. But the 7 steps, the 7 steps wasn't in there initially, but I think it was because there is a lot out there that has 7 steps, 12 steps. It's very encouraging.
It's manageable chunks, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, and it really works with the structure of the film, kind of like Lou's evolution throughout these realizations as well. So I want to talk a bit about your characters. Let's start with Lou and Val, because their relationship and chemistry is so interesting. How did you find kind of creating that for the screen, I guess? Because you worked together before in the short. What was it like taking these different characters that are very, let's say, opposites to begin with? How was that?
It felt really natural, didn't it? I don't know, like, I don't know.
Well, we went to drama school together,
we've
but we
known
didn't
for a
really know
long
each
time.
other that much.
No, they didn't let us work together.
They separated
No,
us.
they didn't let us.
Like naughty school children.
Now they regret it, don't they?
Yeah, they do, exactly.
Although if we had worked together, maybe we would have been like, no.
Maybe. Never. We did a musical together
We
as
did
well.
a musical together. So after college we did a musical together, and then we fell in love, and then that was it really. But so I don't know. I guess because we worked together on the short film, that definitely helped. And you have like a shorthand, then don't you, between us and also Stan as well, the director. So you just have a shorthand when you know each other really well.
Yeah, and it's lovely playing like 2 opposite characters and ones that aren't, I don't know, necessarily typecast. Not like us at all. Maybe we should have swapped roles. I don't know. It was nice playing opposite, and it's really nice to play. When you have something written that's so that's so opposite. It's a lovely dynamic to play with.
It was hard not to laugh, actually. I did find you very funny, and there were times when I was like, oh. But actually the time constraint and the anxiety of that stopped you from.
Because we shot it in 2 weeks.
The whole
thing was shot in 2 weeks.
Wow.
The only way we could afford the
2
people.
takes.
So we got amazing people involved, really, really talented people involved, and we could only get them for 2 weeks, basically, because
That's
of that.
incredible. That's
So
wow.
and why we chose to do this as mad a road trip movie was it had 28 locations. So if you can work out that's like 2 or 3 locations a day, moving in an RV with a load of crew. And so we often only got 1 take.
Wow.
And we had, at the beginning, I think we both panicked. And
and you had to let that go. You just had to be like, I mean, I completely trust Stan, obviously.
Yeah,
you do.
I didn't.
You're married to him. But
really?
It's that thing of just, you had to just let it go. You'd just be like, okay, we're moving on. Because there was no time to be like, I just want to do it one more time. There's just no time.
I think the very first shot that we did was the scene where in laughter therapy, in the montage where we're just walking out of frame. We just had to walk. And we both were really nervous for some reason, because
How do you walk?
because it'd been us in a room, rehearsing, just 3 of us, like, oh, that'd be funny, and then it was just like a big crew, 30 odd people staring at you, going, wow, do something good, and we just had to walk, and I remember us just kind of going, I've forgotten how to walk. Like, and then we realised very quickly we didn't have time to be nervous. We didn't have time to worry about ourselves. We just had to get on with it and move on and trust when Staten went. Yeah, next. You know.
I suppose that pressure got rid of the inhibitions quickly.
Yeah.
Like we don't get to do this again, so let's just not worry about it too much.
So we could start to enjoy it exactly, and then we did. I think after this first day.
No, like just like the drive, you had to do all the driving. And just that thing of putting the key in the ignition and being like...
Because it's a left-hand drive. The camper van is a left-hand... You know, it's an American car, and it was just a massive gear thing, and it broke down in the middle of this country lane halfway through. And because you know, usually with a film you have a low loader and, you know, all these safety elements, and we were safe. It was all legal.
I wore my seatbelt, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. But you had a whacking great, you know, F55 Sony camera, which is it's what they shot the Crown on. It's like a big, massive camera, and this
just in the back seat.
In the back seat with this big DP guy. He's a big guy, and a sound girl just squished in the corner, and I'm driving and trying to hear Stan going, no, do that again, and I don't know where I am. And
do you remember? I mean, I don't know if I should bring this up, but there was like a kind of stressful moment on set when
no, bring it
when
up.
we were at the gas station.
Session.
You know, when she knocks out the kills the person in the gas station, and they're driving off, and Staten was actually in the back seat. Do you remember this?
Can I forget this? Forget ever.
That was in the back seat, and a Poppy fucking floors it.
I was in character.
and then
I drove in character.
And I don't know if he said like cut or something or whatever, but then you put your foot down on the brake, and he whacked into with all of
the monitor
and everything smacked into the seat. Like, because he's on the back seat, and that was an interesting moment, wasn't it?
It was you in the middle going,
everything's fine. Mummy and Daddy are fighting.
Mummy and Daddy are fighting. It's true.
So lots of memorable moments, shall we say?
Yeah.
I'm going to segue a bit onto your character then, because there was a particularly memorable moment when you're having dinner with Lou.
My favourite scene in the entire film.
I think you eat off the floor, correct?
Yes.
So
yes.
Talk me through. Well, first of all, tell me a bit about how you got into that character, and then I'd love to hear about how that scene was to shoot. Was that one take also?
I think that was about 2 takes.
Okay.
Because there's only so much of that food that I could take. So I was like, no. But yes, I think at the time we were in an Airbnb because we kind of had to kind of beg and steal places where we could. So we couldn't make a mess on the carpet or anything. So it's covered in plastic.
Nightmare for sound.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nightmare for sound. So yes, I think it was tinned potatoes, baked beans, and that was about it.
Sorry.
Horrible.
I hope it was
nasty.
warm.
No, it wasn't.
No,
It was horrible. But yes, on the floor. But yes, a lot of it was kind of cut because of the scraping on the floor to do with the plastic. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. But you've got really. Sarah was, as a lot of the actors who came in, Katie and I were there for the 2 weeks, and a lot of actors came in just for a day, which is why we got such brilliant actors to come in just to do their thing, and everybody just came in and brought their character, hit the ground running. There was no, time to kind of talk a lot. And, a few of them came for rehearsals. You had a rehearsal with
Katie at my place.
Which was, I think having just a meeting and a rehearsal at any point, or a few, I think is always brilliant, because you just get past any,
and also I'd worked with Stan before, so it was just kind of like, okay, you just want me to go. So I just went blah.
And that's why you wanted you so badly for that role, because you knew you were just going to do it.
So good.
And just,
there's no kind of third eye going, I can't do this, because you know that you can, so therefore you do. So
that scene actually was, just from an editor's perspective, was actually, I don't know whether you know this, was actually much longer with the eating, and initially, because I loved that scene, I made it really long, and it was very disturbing. We sent it to a test audience, and they all responded with, that scene is too disturbing, too early on.
Censored.
Yeah, and so I should probably put it in the deleted scenes, because it's like a little mini film in itself.
Get it on the
But
show,
yeah, so
babe.
it was literally probably less than half.
Like you say, put it in black and white, make it its own short film.
It could be.
Very disturbing.
It was too dark. It was too. You did a lot of weird stuff.
Brilliant, we loved it. I want to talk a bit about the costuming as well, because you both had such distinct looks. You know, you've got Lou's kind of like bubblegum, youthful pastel aesthetic with the dungarees, and then the much more sophisticated, always perfect red lipstick Val. I was wondering if you could talk about like how you came about deciding on those costumes and whether you had a say in it, I guess.
Well, Camille was great, wasn't she? And when did she come on board?
Actually, the costume came on board quite late on, but I think Katie and I had quite clear ideas.
Yeah, I mean,
some
of them are actually my clothes.
Some of them are. I've still got the jelly shoes. Katie's wearing jelly shoes
with the
white
little
socks that you wear to school.
But that was Camille's. You know, I mean, I kind of trusted her.
Yeah.
And you know, but we did have lots of chats about it, and we
both had Pinterest boards, kind of like this is what we had in mind, and
I mean, I think she, you know, like Lou's got Arrested Development, so of course she's gonna sort of wear things that are probably inappropriate for her age, sort of thing. So yeah.
And there was nice detail, wasn't there? And Camille brought the detail of you know, you had little earrings, didn't you? Kind of childlike earrings, and but the look, because the characters are kind of so clear, it was nice to have the looks so distinctly different.
Yeah. And it definitely like made an impact on the screen, I think, for sure.
Yeah, and actually initially I think that the costume designer was thinking that Val was going to be like in high heels and kind of like a bit more sexy, sophisticated, and I kind of made it really clear that I was like, but it's got to be practical, because she does kill people, and she's got to be able to, you know, physically do these things, and
dress for the job.
Wear heels. Exactly, you've got to dress for the job. So that was kind of sideswiped quite early on, but yeah, I think that I just like your shoes.
Okay, I just have one more kind of fun question before I pass it out to the audience to see if these guys have any. So out of all the kind of therapies your characters tried in the film, and maybe there's more that you remember from the cutting room floor, which one would you most like to try?
I know which one I really wouldn't.
We'll do that one too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, but no, you first. I'm thinking.
Well, when I researched rebirthing, in America, some people died doing it. This is actually true. We didn't put it in the film because we were like, no one will do this. Because we found a rebirthing, and actually they're still doing it. They didn't get prosecuted, but you have to go through. They do it. You go through kind of sheets and things, like you're going through the birth canal, and someone suffocated. Yeah, and they didn't realise, because they thought she was kind of reacting to it, and they didn't realise until afterwards that she was actually
didn't
dead.
Get shut down.
Didn't get prosecuted. No, they didn't. It was a tragic accident. Yeah. So that's what I wouldn't try.
Okay, and Sarah?
God, I don't know. What was there? Sound therapy.
There's the laughter and the nature therapy.
Laughter. I'd have a go at laughter, actually.
I think that'd be quite fun.
That'd be good fun. Yeah, laughter's great. Could do that.
Nature therapy. I've definitely hugged a few trees.
Would you do it again?
Nice.
Yeah, nature therapy, definitely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Fantastic. So I'll throw it out to the audience now. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, you?
So I have quite a big interest in serial killers, and I don't know if you... that sounds really terrible, but we're all here watching the same film.
Share.
And most serial killers aren't women.
Yes.
I think it's something like 0.5% of serial killers are women, and most serial killers are American, except for the Russian ones that they haven't found yet. How did you research how women would react in the way that they do? Because it's the way that she does.
That's really...
Because it's not normal to go out and start... There's a break there, for whatever reason. They all have terrible childhoods, all these serial killers.
Yeah.
So for a woman to become one, they don't generally become one.
Yeah. No, and that's... that's what I found looking into, researching and finding, and also the serial killers that do exist that are women are usually, I found, had a kind of, how do I put this? Used a sexual element, or somewhat, and that's definitely not in this film. And so I found myself looking at male serial killers, and and the kind of unblinking nature of Ted Bundy and those. But actually, in the end, for the character, I found myself what was more useful was looking at self-help gurus because there's a crossover. Because there is, I won't name. I don't think I'll name names. No, I don't think I will. I might get into trouble. But they have a kind of almost psychopathic kind of quality to them that's very engaging and very. Their charisma is.
Are you talking about the big American,
the big American well-known ones that I can change your life, and they you believe them immediately, and I start to find myself looking at the body language and the way that they were, and there are more female life coaches than serial killers. So actually, in answer to that, I kind of did a whole load of looking down the serial killer route, and watching, like Jack Nicholson, The Shining, American Psycho, Henry, Portrait of Serial Killer, like kind of those serial killer movies, and taking bits from them, very male based, but then using more life coach people. That answers your question.
But if you're talking psychopaths, could be male or female. That's kind of irrelevant. If
I think Staten wanted to write this, the two lead characters, that they could be, played by men or women, but it wasn't a comment on anything, female or male. It was, But it is really interesting how many there aren't any female serial killers, or the ones that have been treated really badly kind of probably should be serial killers anyway. Just saying.
Up there, from the back t-shirt.
So I'm hearing a lot that you're saying that you're drawing a parallel between life coaches and serial
Not all of them. Oh God, no.
No. It's very
the ones,
It's fun.
Is she a life coach? Yeah. Ones who are in it for maybe the wrong reasons, perhaps.
Yeah. So who are those people?
Based
on your experience, who are the ones that you've witnessed that you think these are the women who I would say are dubious?
Well, I have one who I know personally, who I couldn't name personally, who's not hugely successful, but I did use a lot of her stuff, so I don't think I could name her. And also we have a friend of a friend who knows quite prolific. I don't think I can say either. Life coach. We used a lot of the design, actually. When you go into Chuck Noah's house, and there's a lot of stuff on the walls of his posters and things like that. They're directly taken from an experience of me going to a very, very successful life coach stroke.
Yeah, I think that Poppy in the film isn't really talking about your life coach as in somebody that you go to and talk on a one-to-one basis.
No, more your Tony Robinson kind of,
the massive American kind of marketplace for I can change your life, which is more of a control.
Tony Robbins, sorry, yeah, and nothing was based on him. Just to say, in his example of how a kind of state of mind, a huge kind of brand that he is, and that might have helped a whole lot of people, but people with potentially mental health issues, it isn't. There's no quick fix. Is what I believe Staten was trying to say, is that it's a longer, slower process to help yourself. If you have more of a mental health issue than just having a bad day and needing
It's
a bit
kind
help.
of, is a guru a good idea? Sometimes not, because it's just a false god.
And it's more targeting the people who are in it for the wrong reasons, you know, who are in it for the money, to exploit people, you know, like the Chuck Noah character, who is there to kind of to get money, basically.
Yeah, I think it was very much like a caricature, like you say, of this like American style, where he says towards the end, like, oh, you could call me a god, you don't have to though, it's fine. Like, it is kind of immediate. Like, even the guy at the beginning in the beige suit is like, I was once like you, I was pathetic. Like, you kind of know what you're going for, and especially now, I think with all these kind of, like, he has these posters of like, love yourself, like that's the solution. You're fine, just love yourself. And I think it was very much a comment on that kind of exaggerated thing, maybe.
Yeah, people who are selling something that isn't really there. There's kind of thin air that they're selling, but they make you believe that they're helping you.
Absolutely.
Essentially. But I mean, there are people there who are genuinely useful and helping a lot of people, but it's the people who are preying and taking the money off people who are vulnerable.
It's a product.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a massive product.
it's
And
huge, $1 billion.
You know, you could have a one-to-one with Tony Robbins if you're really fucking rich.
Yeah.
But if you're not, you might be a tiny person in a stadium. Now, is that really life coaching? Is that really self-help?
And
or
if
is
you
that
give
a product?
$9.99, you will change your life. And then next week, if you give another $9.99, this will change your life.
It's almost like a pyramid scheme, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm just raising that question, really.
Yeah, I don't think we're like condemning any type of.
Without naming
Yeah,
names. Yeah.
just opening up a debate, I guess. We got any more questions from the audience?
I'd just like to ask about the funding for the film, how difficult it was to get and where it came from.
Katie was really involved in that, and Katie was associate producer as well. And somebody said you can't crowdfund a feature, so we went.
Yes, you
can. Try. And I don't think we realised quite what we were getting into when we started. That we did a Kickstarter campaign in a January 28-day campaign, and we set quite a modest budget just to start shooting, because I don't know whether with Kickstarter, if you don't hit the target, you don't get anything.
Was it 18,000?
I think it was 18,000 to begin with.
That we needed to get to at the end of that 28 days.
Yeah. And so we used it as proof of concept. Basically, we had this idea of this film, and we had this team together, and we decided to put it out there. And if we didn't raise the money, then maybe we shouldn't probably make the film because no one would watch it anyway. And if we did, then we had to make it anyway. So we put it out there, and we raised 18.5. We raised it in the first 5 days of the 28-day campaign, and everybody got behind the concept. It was really quick, and this was based on with no marketing, no famous people.
Little video of Poppy and I talking about it, and
really badly talking to them.
yeah, we're not good at that. But also I think what if you're thinking about kickstarting something or whatever, what I thought was really interesting, that I mean, you guys they've done so much research on it, and the first day is really important. First day is really important, that you raise a lot of money. And I know people that have done Kickstarter, and they kind of think, oh well, first day doesn't matter so much, but it's really important because there's a certain amount. If you raise a certain amount,
there's an algorithm. If you raise 20% on your first day, then you get put on a front page of Kickstarter, and Kickstarter starts sending stuff out for you.
And then that goes beyond your friends and family, and into the world.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So things like that people don't know. Like I think it's,
Did you start out with like friends, family on social media? How do you?
So we did it. So basically, from the short. So basically, we said if you give us £1, we're going to send you our short film. And if you hate the short film, we will give you your £1 back, because they kind of pledge it, so that we don't own it until we get all the money at the end. So they can literally take it back. And we said, if you like the short film, come back and raise your pledge, give us more money. Yeah. And the percentage that did was huge. In fact, one guy overnight in Germany watched the film, gave us £1, and then came back and gave us $5,000.
They were a psychotherapist, right?
He was a psychotherapist.
Didn't
like euthanasia. But he just got he just got the concept, and I think people really kind of got behind the dark comedy and got behind the kind of nature that we were making it in, and that we were just kind of making this with or without funding, so we were kind of a moving train and people kind of jumped on board, and it was really lovely actually because it motivated us to keep going. I think, and we raised 27.5, about 27,500 through Kickstarter, and then Stan and I both then put funding in ourselves to kind of match that. I come from quite a lot of commercial background, so I just put a lot of commercials into that. Brilliant. And so it was made for. I think our total budget was 60,000, which is I think we worked out it's about 4 seconds of a Marvel film. So it's so it's tiny.
I think we had someone else. Were you going to ask a question?
It's kind of more like a comment. So if someone's got a more important question, then they can go ahead.
Has anyone got any other questions before we move on?
Staten and I tried to, I was more involved in the short writing, and we're writing together now. We tried to turn, it was called This Way Out. I think it's online, it's free now. We're just releasing it now, because, we are. And it's 17 minutes long, and we wanted to, the idea was to turn it into a TV series. And we had a lot of interest, but a lot of people came back, BBC were like, it's not funny enough, it's a bit more drama, and then, Sky were like, it's not drama enough, it needs to be funnier, and it didn't. I think now, because this was 5 years ago, I think now, after Fleabag and Killing Eve and whatever, it might have found its place a bit more, but it was very dry, very dark humour, and I think people got a bit unsure about it, so that's partly why we stopped going in that direction. We thought we were going to be here for years, plugging away at this, and trying to please other people, so let's just do something that we can have control of over. So that's why we went quite a different direction with the feature. If that answers your question.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
On the poster that's outside, one of the pull quotes described it, I think, as like an evil Thelma and Louise or something like that. I'm wondering if Thelma and Louise was in your head while you were making it, and whether you agreed with the way that quote characterised the film.
I don't know, you'd have to ask Sutton. I don't think he never
Was
mentioned.
it in your head when we were filming?
No.
Wasn't mine.
No, I think because perhaps it's one of the few female-led road trip movies where people kill people.
Maybe
it's the only film. Yeah, so I think that's where the comparison is. I mean, it's really flattering. It's a perfect film. It's a brilliant film. But I don't think it was in Statton's mind or ours. No, but it's nice.
And now we're going to kickstart the genre, right?
Yeah. The new road trip killing movie genre.
Yeah. Fantastic. Have we got any more questions before the comment?
I have a question now.
Yeah, question. Fantastic.
So something that's really interesting in the film is the fact that all the English gurus are very independent, very grassroots. It's either in a field or it's out their house. Whereas Chuck Noah is this massive, American conglomerate, and he's also much more manipulative and psychopathic than the others. Is there an intentional subtext there? Is there something about that?
Americans.
Oh, we're not saying Americans at Eve. I'm because it's just released in America. Actually, I'm quite interested to see how that's gone down.
How that pans out.
Yeah, I think the reaction's been quite nice. They kind of think we're crazy British humour, so I think they quite liked it. What's the question?
Sorry, I worded it poorly. I think it's interesting how all the gurus in England are independent, whereas Chuck Noah is the ultimate evil. He's the totalitarian American guru he's so much worse than the English ones. And I was wondering if there was an intentional subtext there.
They're all self-employed, aren't they?
I worded it poorly. I'm sorry.
No, I don't. It definitely wasn't. I don't think it was a comment massively on the difference between America and here. I do think Staten made the choice very early on that Chuck was going to be American because of the scale.
Yeah, but also as well, most of the larger self-help gurus just happen to be American as well.
Yeah, because of the amount of people. Yes, and I don't know whether we're more cynical in England. I don't know, in Britain.
I think probably we are. Yeah,
maybe
generally.
Yeah, and also it's brought to scale because of the journey we go on is accessible, along the coast of England. But yeah, I think it was about. I think I don't know. Sap would have to answer that, but I think he was definitely making a comment on the two sides of the self-help, and that it can be kind of false on a massive scale or slightly odd and false on a smaller scale, and because I hope kind of all the characters who play the self-help gurus are kind of, there's something slightly dislikable to them, and there's an idea that a lot of them are doing it for a reason, kind of an arrogance or a kind of self a congratulatory feeling or a kind of sexual thing in sound therapy.
Yeah, sound therapy.
So there's it's definitely specific to those kind of people. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to ask Dan.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Was there anyone who was upset by killing of the rabbits?
That's a good question. We have a lot of vegans on set.
Yeah, I thought they might come up.
Were they real?
We didn't kill them.
But they had to be killed for the shot.
Well, I believe, they came from a butcher's, I believe. I'd have to ask production design.
Yeah, I can't remember now.
I think I ran away.
Because it's quite disturbing, isn't it, when you see them on the screen?
Yeah, no, it's a good
I did a job
question.
where we had to kill a rabbit as well. That's why I asked it.
Right.
And it was really controversial that day. It was
very.
Well,
they
there was sort of rabbit sadness around.
Yeah. I think. Do you know what? Oddly, I think no one mentioned it. Because of that,
Yeah.
and I think we all kind of
We did. I remember you and I going away,
and I think the production designer was very aware of that as well. She just because she got them from a butcher, so I think they
were pretty dead.
I mean, they were dead. Yeah,
they were going to
someone
die
killed
anyway.
the monster.
Yeah, and our producer is vegan as well, and I think he was there that day. I think. I think there was a kind of air of silence. I think so. She brought them out and took them away again very quickly.
It's funny because it's such a violent film, and we enjoy the violence. It is entertaining.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Kill someone else.
Yeah, that's one of the few.
I know, but then
I'm
you know
upset
the
about
actors
the rabbits.
aren't
It's
dead,
kind of
don't you? You know the actors aren't dead, but you know the rabbits are dead. So I don't know.
Yeah, we couldn't afford fake rabbits.
They look
Would have been better.
Next one, fake rabbits.
Or somebody from drama school, maybe.
Yeah,
Rabbits.
Dead.
Good method.
No one would miss them. Yeah. That's true.
Brilliant. Well, I think we've got to wrap it up there. But thank you so much, all three of you, for taking the time to speak to us and sharing your fantastic film with us. We're looking
Thank you.
forward-
Thank you for supporting.
Thank you.